Back in the 1800s when I transitioned.
And we're bringing trans-mask history forward, okay?
And
I'm here for it.
Yeah. Nobody was really talking about trans people in general, let alone transmasculine. It's like we did not exist. Come on. Trans men as a whole are a pretty good-looking group of men. Come on, I'm the Virgo, I'm the business guy. There's the face. What this person, of which we speak of,
allegedly,
of who shall not be named, it was crashing and burning. It was not his money. It was all my money.
Wow.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, child.
Right?
Blossom can answer that for you.
This is the Transparency Podcast Show.
Welcome to the Transparency Podcast. My name is Shane Ivan Nass, and I'm with your co-host, Blossom Brown, which I still have not yet to learn my name, Blossom.
What?
This is like the fourth episode, and I keep messing up my name.
Oh, my gosh. And then you forgot it's Blossom C. Brown.
It is. It is with a C. And you know what? It's also Black History Month as well. So we're celebrating in more ways than one on this episode. I have an amazing guest today. Honestly, somebody that I've known for, God, I feel like a decade or longer than that. And it's also an icon in the trans community and a transmasculine community, which is extremely important, as you know, to me. And I wanted to uplift them today. Leon, how the hell are you doing? And welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Doing well. Thank you both for having me.
Yes.
Thrilled to be here. Appreciate it.
So what were we talking about earlier, mushrooms? No, we just jumped right in.
Good one.
Just jumped right in. Yes, I own a cannabis delivery service.
Yes.
And I've been in the field of cannabis, owned my company for 9 years. And I really believe in the properties of microdosing mushrooms. I sell them. People ask me a lot, is it legal? It's not legal like Prop 64. It's that really nice gray area where we could get things done like Prop 215, like free, so it's not illegal.
Yeah. I love that you're quoting 215. Most folks that are on like legal cannabis, they have no idea what. They don't even know the history of cannabis, and that's cool that like trans mask folks are kind of a part of that history as well too. So.
Right. So that Prop 215 stands for the Compassionate Act Law. I did a lot of work in my art career and with ACT UP in New York City and in and around AIDS, and then also I also did a lot of work. I'm old. I was like a counselor in rehab and worked at Broadman Hospital and stuff, and saw a lot of people in our community.
Yeah.
Also, struggling with drugs and stuff.
You've done a lot of work. I have an old history. Like you've been
so
around.
If you combine those and you take that, it really is the safer, easier, softer path of healing our community. And I like to get high.
Yeah, because getting high is a vibe, right?
It's self-care. It's important to self-care, right?
Yeah.
Now, Leon, I wanted to bring you here, honestly, because, again, it's really important to highlight a lot of the stuff that transmasc folks have done. Our history has been erased far too often, and your photography is one of the first things that I noticed about you. It's something that really hit my radar. It's so beautiful the way that you film bodies, and you empowered especially transmasc folks to feel beautiful within their body. And I just wanted to hear you expand more on where did you start from that? What said, I'm going to pick up a camera and I'm going to make a change in the world? Because I really feel like you have.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So my whole journey started, I consider myself, I'm an activist, and art is my vehicle. And it's always been like that. All of my series, even starting, I was known as a lesbian, erotic photographer, which was very political at the time. The women weren't showing their bodies, they weren't allowed to be like that. They weren't allowed to dress sexy. There was the whole thing. This was like the early 80s, going into the 90s.
They barely got credit cards, realize.
Right, yeah. So to say that, one, I am against the patriarchy. However, I get to be feminine. I get to have sexual identity. It can't be one side or the other. So even starting political like that. So all of my work was very feminist related and political. I did a lot of work for ACT UP. Was part of Art Positive. There were two main groups, art groups. So there was Grand Fury and Art Positive, and we're in a show. The work of Art Positive is in a show coming up again in a few months. Okay, so then fast forward, it's really about me and my community and showing the world what I know, and I know how we're special, and I know how important and different it is, and documenting that. That's why I consider myself like a documentarian.
Yeah.
I hope that they're nice art. I hope it as to come into good artwork, but I'm really like an activist and a documentarian. So as I transitioned, which was also very early on, and there was
in the 1900s, correct?
Yes,
Allegedly.
yes, I am a vampire.
Ooh.
You guys knew that, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I've got, it's very difficult. I'm going to have to get out of these lights very soon. So back in the 1800s when I transitioned, there was no.
Listen, we're bringing transmasc history
It's true.
forward, okay?
It is.
And I'm here for it.
Yes,
All of this.
yeah. No, it was really important and it wasn't seen. And so really with Death of My Daughter, which I think was like really a big breakthrough, and that was in 2009. So nobody was really talking about trans people in general, let alone transmasculine. It's like we did not exist. There was original plumbing.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. And that was it.
Yeah. There was
nothing else, know. There was Lauren, his physique book, which came and went very quickly. And that was very early on. Original plumbing was at the same time I was, but that was it. So the thing about Death of My Daughter was two things. When my mother really did announce, that I was dead to the family, and they just couldn't wrap their head around it and all of that. And I felt that because I was with all queer people, and mainly I was married to a, lesbian who's, her license plate says Les Ride. I mean, she's very much a lesbian.
Stone Cold Butch.
Yeah, very femme. And that was one thing, because I only went out with femmes, and with her, she was saying, and a lot of femmes are like this, well, I'm with a very masculine. I didn't transition. Like a lot of people are like, you don't really look that different. The hair went from the top of your head to the bottom of your face. I really don't see that much of a difference. So I was always like, luckily, like,
I feel
an athlete and, very straight, muscular and just kind of
giving
a boy.
Cisgender man.
Yeah, I was always like a guy. So anyways, but she used to say, and I didn't really realize this, plus I don't hold somebody's identity, you're taking away my identity, because when we're not together, I'm very much, queer.
Yeah.
Now that you're a guy, and you look like a guy, and you pass as a guy, because I am a guy. She's like, but then you've taken away my identity.
Yeah.
Now, two big problems with that, being that I have a degree in psychology and she's a therapist, is you don't hold anybody else's identity. That's your own identity to hold. And two, being a femme in this community, like unless you're in Nuanced in New York, or you're in San Francisco, girlfriend in LA, everybody thinks you're a straight girl. They don't even think femmes exist, right?
Yeah.
So there's not even a place. So I'm like,
and there's no lesbian bars. I mean, the one that we had Oxwood in is gone.
Yeah.
There's
like, so when
27 in the entire country, I believe that there's lesbian bars
there's
left.
Hardly anything left.
And there's
Lexington bars
67,000 bars throughout the entire United States. It's crazy.
What? Yeah, and the Lexington in San Francisco, which is amazing. And also the guy who's in this show that I'm in June. Maybe you know him, Ace Morgan. He's in San Francisco and a photographer, and as a gym and stuff. So Ace was in the show, but he was a photographer at the Lexington, and so that was like it's all gone.
Yeah,
that culture.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing that Blossom really loves to talk about a lot, is how our liberation is tied. And it's one thing that I can really see with trans women and trans men, and how we've lost spaces, and how the patriarchy affects us both in different ways, but it's still harmful. And some of the work that you, right? And some of the work that you have done throughout history, I mean, I've seen some photos. I mean, like they're like black and white photos from like you marching in the streets, and like how, like what was your early life in activism? Like, what did that look like? How did you get to ACT UP? Like, what was that moment for you? Because that's really important. You know, at least for me, I am really into HIV research and care, especially with what happened to me, and I needed a PEP emergency incident. And Blossom actually does a lot of research in HIV as well with like folks like Gilead. So, where did you find your path to ACT?
I was living in San Francisco, and I did the first, was actually the second National March on Washington, where they had the AIDS quill and all of that. And I was running a photo lab. And again, all my work was, you know, I was doing Market Street Cinema, and I just always been around like, and sex workers, and especially like butches sort of navigated towards each other because one, it was very difficult to find jobs. And if you were masculine identified, like I was, you know, I just am who I am, right? Obviously, there's a problem because this is the easier way to identify as I do now. Always looking as masculine as you do is actually a very hard path.
Yeah.
You know, just like to be a very effeminate man. So back in the 80s, it was in the 80s, which is not that long ago, it was very difficult to find a job. Now, femmes could become sex workers, which, you know, and then some chose to do it. I work in a lab 9 to 5, which I think, I mean, I'd be a horrible sex worker, you know. So like, I wouldn't make any money, first of all. But, you know, also these very smart women who are like, my partners, you know,
well, that's, I mean, a kind of.
We're sex workers. And so through that, there were so many people with AIDS. And so we were around that. So if you're in San Francisco and it's in the mid 80s and you've done all of this, you really are seeing the people around you die. So that could be either mostly the gay men, but also because of the fact, you know, honestly, we were punks, we were junkies. It was very risky. So seeing so many people die. Yeah. Then when I moved to New York, the person, you know, that I got the place in, an old friend of mine, he was already, and this is 1988 going on 89 when it first started, the original ACT UP in New York on the west side. And so Aldo was part of it. And then my roommate, Ray Navarro, became a very big activist, and there's been a lot that was put out about Ray. Ray died, unfortunately, when he was 27. That was 93. He was my roommate. So I do what I do best, which was picked up a camera. Me, Lola Flash was part of Art Positive, Aldo Hernandez, Julie Tolentino, like some really big people who have gone on to be big. That were just like people in 20s, you know, college kids. I was just like crazy ass junkie photographer who just made a lot of, what I did was, I told you, I worked in labs mainly. I worked in labs. And then, and then, you know, Annie, you know, Diviana, you know, they're all sex workers, my partner, you know. So we could make a lot of art, and it was really about that scare and that nobody was helping us. And I think that the double-edged sword of AIDS, and it really is also looking at that's when queers got the power that they did. Because through all the death, through watching, you know, my friends in their 20s, my roommate, Ray, like I was the one who was like, that summer I was like, dude, because he was such a big activist. Yeah. So well known as an artist and activist. Like he wasn't telling anybody. And I was just like, but he was my roommate. I was like, dude, there's no way. There's something going on, right? And then we were taking the train across to where we worked in, you know, Manhattan there on the west side. And he just collapsed going down the stairs and got meningitis like that. Oh. So to watch like young people like dying around you and them not doing anything, but to enhance that power where, you know, and that's why we're not really fucked with now. Like Disney and stuff, they're like, oh, fuck no, I ain't taking away the queers' money, you crazy? Because it also came out to show we're united and if you put all the money together and you put the cause and you put all the political powers together, like just take Harvey Milk and stuff, you take all of the super intelligent, all of the political people, all of the men that run corporations, like mainly talking about white gay male money, right?
Yeah.
But
we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we know what we're talking about.
We know.
We're talking about the big white gay man,
No,
but his money helps.
But I'm so glad you said that, because people who look at this need to hear that from someone like you.
Yeah.
And obviously, I am not a transmasculine person. I mean, it's quite clear. Hit a button. Give me a button. It's very clear.
I had to do that one.
It's very clear. I am not a transmasculine person. But I wanted to go back to that transmasculine erasure.
Yeah.
And if you feel comfortable jumping
No, I definitely
whatnot.
Go for it.
So in this day and time with so much going on or whatnot, what do you think needs to happen to prevent transmasculine erasure, or what needs to change? How do you feel?
I don't think that it's really ever been there. Like with death of my daughter, the reason I was saying that and exploring who we were and to talk about our experience and is because nobody had done that. Nobody had even, and I mean, again, it's ancient history for trans people being vocal and having a platform. Certainly trans men, we still don't even have a platform. Yeah. So back in 2009, for 10 individual men to say, first of all, this is the death, right? This I'm putting to death. These are the social and the political and the patriarchal obligations on the parental obligations, which also I think resonated because everybody has that. It's more apparent if you're trans.
Yeah.
But every child grows up with that,
Yeah.
So that makes it a more universal message. Now, as far as trans men, nobody, and this is who I am, and each man breaks apart the experience. So, and now fast forward to, let's say, the other really big project, and I did a lot of books. We did, Fashioning Masculinity, like showing men that were, just that we were out there and that we were actually, come on. Trans men as a whole are a pretty good looking group of men. Right? Right?
Oh, child.
Right?
Blossom can answer that for you.
We do pretty good.
I've had my fair share of being in a relationship.
That's from another episode, though.
Oh, I want to hear that. I'm definitely going to sit in the corner for that episode.
That was a long button.
I know.
That was long. The nutting.
Hold on. We can do a...
Oh.
It could be about
you. That's one of my favorites, by the way.
Spooky one.
Push buttons around here.
Yeah, no, we play around. We do too much.
Yeah,
but as we digress into madness, let's get back to actually...
Yeah. Sorry. I love it.
We're messy.
You got to have fun.
One thing that I wanted to add on with Blossom as well is about trans male erasure. I concur.
I don't think it's ever been there. Erase it from where? We don't even have it yet.
Yeah, and I see that happen, unfortunately, far too often with folks who've done work even in different mediums and different forms, different businesses. They've kind of been erased after a certain point of their work. And it's been kind of sad to see that. And that's why I've been really intentional about specifically bringing trans mass folks and icons like yourself so you can tell your story, how we can really help with that visibility. Because, I mean, Blossom, the only way that I feel like we can do it is moments like this podcast and really telling folks stories. Because as he said, and as you know, there's no visibility for trans men in the way that folks assume that there is. I mean, there's some media things that are happening.
I was just about to ask you about that.
Yeah,
actually.
There's a few things that happen in media and a few, influencers that popped up on TikTok. But in terms of resources, we've got nothing at the end of the day. And a lot of the work that I've seen, many different trans mask individuals, just completely erased for some whatever reason, patriarchal structures, et cetera, that we're fighting. So my question to you is, How do you think that we as a community can learn to express, again, better ways to fight the patriarchy? Because I feel like as trans men, we live in this weird world where it's like we have access to male privilege when we go to the liquor store. The guy is like, hey, what's up, bro? How you doing? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, when we go into spaces like jobs or actual equitable spaces where we have to be known as who we are fully, we lose all that privilege. So where do you feel that we can address that? And then how do you feel about that? And have you experienced that as well? I know it's a lot of questions.
Okay, Shane.
Listen, I want wisdom from you, because I want, the younger generation to actually hear, because you've really been there at the beginning when everything was forming. And there's this conversation that the T should be separated from LGBT. And what you said earlier just proves the reason why LGBT is together is because we were able to consolidate power. That's why ACT UP happened. So again, it's a lot there to answer, but I'll give you the floor to let it go on whichever subject you wanted to jump in on.
Well, I think the T has always been there, and you want to keep it there. And that's why I do like using the Q. I don't go on to the alphabet more than that, but that only also represents me, because I am a straight trans man. So you have to explain that to people. So, yes, my gender is male, but that has not changed my sexuality, which is that I have attracted to women, and getting people to understand that, it's no different than a gay man who transitions. No, he's not a lesbian. He's a man. Yeah. Therefore, he's a gay man. It doesn't change or make your transition ridiculous. Your sexuality and your gender are so different. But so I think that's important, and I think it's important to be inclusive, because when you keep dividing and dividing, is how we lose power, which is the whole power structure, which is, taking these playbooks from fascist communities.
Ooh, thank you.
And they're doing that because of what you do. Ooh. You divide and you divide, and you push one person against the other, which is classic of what's going on in this country now, which has gone on many times. And in this country, just in the 1940s, if people would know their history, which is very important.
History repeats itself.
Right. And if you think about the way the Nazis did it, first they came in and took out all of the trans and queer people.
Exactly what we're seeing today. That's literally why I wrote this book.
It's the easiest to start with. Then they moved on. I am a trans Jew, so I get it on all sides. Now, the other thing is what you were asking about, like business and stuff. One thing is my art, and that's my focal point. And that's why also with like Transfigure, where the whole thing was like, cutting it up into like a children's playbook, because the point is, you don't even know what you're discriminating against. Try to line up these bodies.
Yeah.
In fact, people with me even in front of them, and that book, I was lucky that both of, of all the trans work that I've done, and again, I'm representing myself because hopefully, I'm speaking about an entire community. When I did all the work with sex workers and the book, Market Street Cinema, hopefully I'm speaking for all of the women, but, to have that voice, there isn't, I think that people are prejudiced because they don't know. Now, I think there are places for people to know and places for them not to know. I have this conversation, debate a lot with my friends of like, well, if you're a man, just be a man. And then why would you even tell anybody that you're trans? I mean, the whole point is to be a man, and you're a man. And so, I think there's only two places that I am vocal about that. And I'll tell you why. Okay, so one, and I've been married and divorced 3 times, and then a fiance. I think I'm good in that department. I apparently am not good there. So one, though, would be with a sexual partner, of course, I mean, even for a one-night stand, of course. The next one would be with my artwork and getting a message across. Because again, that's my vehicle. That's my activism. That's the way I believe in equality. I've always fought you know, I was raised an activist, you know, by my parents, Jews, you know, so like, you know, there's that. Now, when it comes to my business or just walking down the street or whatever, nobody needs to know I'm trans, and nobody needs to know that I'm trans with my cannabis company, because it's none of your fucking business.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with me being the best at picking out the best weed, hunting down the best mushrooms, hunting down the best chocolate edibles.
Come on.
Hunting down the best vape pens so we can pull one out.
Not providing the
now.
plug. The plug is now available on Transparency Podcasts. Are we interviewing the plug?
We're going to pass these little suckers around for everybody. Stickers for everybody. You know, but anyways, that's because it's supposed to be a woo,
by the way.
No, seriously, this is for everybody. Feel free to pass those around.
Yes.
All the people that come in. But so I mean that in the way that because I don't want that to color every aspect of my life.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very important, and that's why I do the artwork that I do. That's why I'm so blessed that, you know, of the 3 films, one about when I was in the prison system that I was blessed enough to do with Cheryl Denier and Angela Davis. In fact, it's mainly just me and Angela Davis in the film. It's a short, but that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And I have really long, I naturally have blonde hair. I told a partner a long time ago, I go, oh yeah, well, I have blonde hair. And she's like, dude, if you looked in the mirror, you have gray hair. You don't have blonde hair. I was like, what?
Age just creeped up on you, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit.
What? You're kidding me. Shit.
Love it.
But you know, in that aspect, you know, it's important. But for me as a business person, people should know, like, that doesn't ruin my life. I'm still an intelligent person. I'm still whatever I am.
Yeah.
I'm a business person. I'm an artist. I'm in healthcare, you know, and putting things. I'm a teacher. I'm a professor.
Yeah.
That should not just be like, oh, this is your identity. And that's why I think we lose a lot of power. Just like when we were, you know, coming out, the whole thing, which was also, you know, when we were in New York and because I was living there. But, you know, that's when Queer Nation was there and everything, and the whole idea of outing. Now, forced outing is not cool, you know, but I do believe that's the same way with trans people. So, yes, you know, I'm trans. That's amazing. Great. And I also, you know, just built this cool-ass fucking electric car that's going to take over the world.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can get to be both things, you know. I'm, like I said, because I'm an activist and all, and I'm an artist, you choose to, and I've always chosen to use that platform. In fact, at first people weren't making the connection that Leon Mostovoy was Tracy Mostovoy. So I changed everything, and I don't have it on my website now. Well, I do in the first paragraph and stuff. I had to redo everything because and that's when I first got a lot more like people coming out and being like, oh my God, wait, you're Tracy, the one who's already had so many publications, but as feminist, as ACT UP, as a lesbian erotic photographer was my main thing that I was.
Because you had an identity
on
as
a
butch lesbian.
Yeah,
it was, and there was a lot of
lesbian,
activism.
And it was all about like,
and people knew you from that.
They knew me really well from On Our Backs.
Yeah, I really want to ask this question. How do you feel about people who are not transmasculine fetishizing of transmasculine bodies? You know, and I think it's really important that I ask this, especially for those that are watching this that are not transmasculine. Like, what are your thoughts around that?
You mean people that are doing it as for themselves because they want to look like that, or people that are fernticizing for
I feel like
a sex
people that are
object?
doing it just to be annoying and just to kind of I'm trying to figure out how to say it. Just fetishizing the bodies of transmasculine people. I have a firm belief that we as trans people, we're not characters,
Right.
but we are treated like characters to cis people. And although I'm not a transmasculine person, I'm really curious to know what that experience looks like in the transmasculine community, and like, what are your thoughts around that?
I think that, it's very much this. I don't know if it still is. Again, I'm very much older, and I came out a long time ago, and they were still like very strict. It was very much like my friend Max Valerio wrote Testosterone Files, which was the first big book about it. And Max and I are friends. There's pictures of Max when Max was still Anita in that book that I took, because we were just old, like super, like butch punk rock dykes together, artists, and in the streets of San Francisco, like I was saying, So anyways, he left and came and stayed with me in New York because he was getting bullied by the lesbian community.
Really?
It was very difficult.
Like
Or like I'm saying, or my ex-wife saying to me, "You're not a feminist anymore." The one who was saying that she lost her identity to me, transitioning, and me being like, look at all my artwork. Like, I have tons of published work saying that I'm a feminist. All of a sudden I'm not, because I'm trans man. When you were saying that, I really think that we are. I think that we're the best secret weapon for the trans community.
Yeah,
that's the way we should be used.
At least that's how
a secret weapon. We pass. People don't know, and not just only like because lots of trans women pass. It's very few, and it also depends. Just like trans men.
Yeah.
You're going through puberty. It's not like insta guy, insta woman, So it depends how far.
There's also genetics at play in certain
and your
things
genetics,
as well.
and like
if your dad was short, you're going to be short.
I'm short.
What?
That's
My dad was short.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
If you went bald, you're going to go bald too.
Yeah.
Like that's how it is.
My dad is a tiny Jewish man. He was only 5'8" himself. Like Jesus Christ.
That's the same height as my dad. My black daddy.
Yeah. I have a lot of chance here,
My black daddy. Okay.
But I think that also, because of the patriarchy and because there's still so much sexism, you can have no really masculine features, but grow that first couple of years of like fur that you get under, it starts under your neck, and then you hope for it to come up.
Yeah.
It's the same for every trans guy, right?
Nothing like a good neck beard.
Yeah, right. You get that good neck beard.
Like, I got more hair here than I feel like I got here. I was like, damn.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
You're like, your growth first. And
your neck for some reason. I don't know why. At least for me,
genetically, I got more under here.
So many guys. In fact, that's why when I was doing Death of My Daughter, and because you have to transition back into being a girl, right? But if you look at the pictures, they're, like hairy guys, like Max had a full beard, and some of the guys were like, oh my God, you know how long it took me to grow this mustache? Oh my God, I gotta shave off my mustache. The mustache is a hard one. But, now I'm old and now it's like out of control. But, I think that, pointing that out, and it's a double-edged sword in that way, because you pass, which is great, and then you lose sense of your community because community gets almost mad at you.
And support and a lot of, it's something.
The government's a double-edged sword like that, yeah?
Wow.
Yeah, it's something that I've really wanted to talk about, and I'm glad that you're bringing this up because it's something that I've definitely struggled with, where it's like, I've done a lot of work in different ways pre-transition, and after transition, it's almost kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, because it's sit down and be quiet in the same way as before transition, which is patriarchal structures, but at the same time, I have to live up to the structures of, being the breadwinner, being this, being that, being macho, protector, and all of these things that are thrown on us. But at the same time, we don't have the same structural support that a lot of cis men actually have, that is to actually fully actualize male privilege. a lot of trans men that I've spoken with, men of color, trans men that are white, this has gone across the spectrum. It's almost like a false male privilege. It's like the ideology that, again, we can go to the liquor store and it's fine. But again, when we get into deeper sides where folks do find out we're trans, it's this idea that we are just not even worth the time, the investment, or even the visibility. And a lot of resources kind of get lost in that sense. And it's this weird structure that it's hard to kind of address, because at the same time, I'm fully aware of my white male privilege that I do carry. But at the same time, I'm 100% trans. I definitely have a vagina. Like, even though some folks are like, are you trans? Yes. Where's the button for that? Wait.
I said, bruh.
This episode is brought to you by Kitcaster. Kitcaster books you on top podcasts. How do funded startup founders attract prospects and talent? Podcast interviews. How do entrepreneurs with exits find new deals? Podcast interviews. How do C-suite execs differentiate in crowded markets? Podcast interviews. Kitcaster books you on top podcasts. Click the link in the show notes for a special offer. Celebrate good conversation.
Wait, why you say not fair?
I don't know. We're pushing buttons. It is not fair.
Where's the
actually.
exact moment?
No, hold on. It is not fair, because I'm a size 13 in men's shoes, and God robbed me. Okay, I would have had a Drake size.
Your feet are bigger than mine.
Okay, like I would have been like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, your feet are bigger than mine. Now that I think about
Thank
it.
God
so-
my feet grow.
I got robbed in that sense. So that button is
wear
actually
men's
accurate.
shoes.
Okay. But that's the thing, is like, we are still trans at the end of the day. We still have resources. Healthcare, a lot of the gaps in the services just do not exist. Like, I still have a lot of fear about getting older as a trans man, because, like, are they going to properly even know how to take care of me?
My doctor still doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. Because I don't want to go to. I could go back to the center where I started a million years ago, and everybody goes. However, I live in Claremont. I don't live close anymore, and I've been doing this for so long, and it's just like, and I have insurance, not great insurance, California covered, go Obama, but I got insurance, right? So I'm like, I can get it on my insurance. My doctor still fucks it up every time.
Yeah.
Even my shot. How many times did I tell you? I take my shot once a week, once a month, and still I'm like, lady.
Yeah, no, I have this similar issue. That's why I went off testosterone, actually, is the inconsistency of care, because it's just not there. And I was afraid that I'm like a guinea pig getting shot in the dark to a degree, because there's just a lot of work that still needs to be done for trans men specifically.
You know what you were talking about? I think that, yes, there's health and all of that, but really what I think stops trans men and is not so much if people find out if they're trans or not. I know a few people. I don't let anybody know. I was much more open about it.
Yeah.
First of all, it's my company. I do the fuck I want, but people weren't liking it. I don't want to lose business. I don't care what you think of me. Give me your money. Seriously. I say the most insulting trans things around, like, all of this going down, and a trans person tried to teach my child, I'd cut their dick off. And I could be like, you're talking to a trans guy.
Yeah.
Or I could be like, give me that $200. I'm backing up out of your driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It honestly, to hear you say that, Shane, really just broke my heart to hear that. Especially, and I'm thinking about transmasculine individuals who don't live in California, who don't have access to insurance. And we're in such a political climate where our trans care is in danger.
Right.
There are states that are literally trying to ban trans care.
Yeah,
and
completely.
our transmasculine community will be affected by this.
Well, yeah, both. I think that's evenly across the board. But what I think the real problem is the way we're socialized. The reason trans men do not
talk about it.
Oh my God, we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
You don't understand. This is the conversation we have in the living rooms, but if we're going to do it, let's do it, because I'm ready for it.
Let me tune in. Let me get my stuff together. Let me pull
this is what I think forever is that the way
let's add some allegedly just in case for the Twitter comments. Allegedly.
Well,
this is his opinion and our opinion.
My opinion.
Yes, this is an opinion show.
I wouldn't say allegedly men are treated with a different psychology, little boys, as opposed to little girls. So even though it's getting more even, it is not the same psychology that you get. You are not treated the same. The expectations on you are not the same. And as much as my parents, I was very lucky. Growing up, I mean, when I was a little kid, I knew I was a boy and asked for what was that, wiffle ball and a tee bat at 5. We're talking like 67. My mom let me do that. My parents let me play basketball.
Huge.
My parents let me
I was doing that in the 90s, and it was still huge back then. So the fact that you were doing it back then. Once they found out I was
queer, my mom stopped talking to me. But when I was just a tomboy, it was fine. So I was very fortunate. However, that is not the same as being socialized. And so the reason why I think that trans women are more successful than trans men is that it's not so much the way you look. Most trans men pass. There's a lot of short guys. I know cis guys that are shorter than me, right? That's
Shout out to all the short
deal.
Kings out there.
Yeah, right?
Short kings.
So I don't think it's just like there's a lot of tall women out there. So I don't think it's that so much.
Women?
Right.
What?
And most of them are models, to be fair.
Exactly. Yeah. They're all models. So that's great for you guys.
I'm a tall woman.
Yeah, right? See, you're on your way to being a supermodel. I don't know, right now, booked right after this. Booking starts. Booking starts. But the way that you're then, if you're socialized as a child, the most formative years, as we know, are from 0 to 5. And you were socialized from 0 to 5 because your parents don't even really know. They're just going along with whatever, but more or less.
Yeah.
Your social cues, everything are these cues. You already have this idea in your head. Yes, I perform. Yes, I do this. Yes, I'm the blah, 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 blah. Okay, so even though you know that you're a woman, you still have that psychology. Now, trans men were not socialized like that. So all of a sudden, and it is very much a double-edged sword, especially in relationships, let me tell you, 3 times divorced, is that even though, they know you're trans and all that, you are still, like all women, they do want that security. And obviously no men are out slaying lions right now, right? How are you showing it? You're showing it financially. You're showing it with that kind of cushion, with that sort of like, of course, all the other things you can do. And, watch me, like on the jungle gym here, the beach, yada, yada.
Not the jungle gym.
Yeah.
Meet us at the jungle gym.
Yeah. I got
That's where the mushrooms are at.
Yeah, right. Watch me swing. I swing so high.
There's the new slogan for the new mushroom bag.
I totally. But see, that's what I mean is that. So it's difficult because we weren't raised like that, and to then change that psychology. My parents, my father, both of them, they were very much feminist. My sister took over my dad's company as a CEO. I mean, it was a school organization, but we had like 75 schools. I mean, they have more now that she lost her job, but so it wasn't so much that, but it's still this idea that you're not even with like how to be assertive in a relationship or with a partner or how to be assertive with man to man. I got really messed up, and women go through the same thing because women have they do have a different language. Yeah. You grew up with a different language.
Yes.
And you can walk in and think, this used to really fuck me up when I first transitioned because I was sort of like, my wife at the time was just like, oh my God, you're like Instaman. I like realized, and it freaked her out because she was like within like 9 months, I just like, nobody knew it. I was total dude. I got top surgery like right away within like the 2nd month. Yeah. So like, but I didn't know how to act around like straight dudes.
Do you know the urinal rule? Like you had to learn the urinal
Oh,
rule?
yeah.
Where
well,
you're not supposed to stand next to the guy. There's supposed to be a urinal actually gap. There's all these like little things in the male world that I had to learn in my early 20s.
Yeah,
like, usually you learn like when you're 12 and you're like in middle school, but there's like these rules for men that they engage in certain ways in certain spaces, and no one can teach you these things. You kind of have to know them or be taught through your childhood and your upbringing.
And the way you interact. Like, and I one thing I do appreciate about guys, but I've always, and this is true, that if you're trans, like born trans, you're born with the psychology, the brain of that sex, not the sex of your body. So I never even called myself a girl when I was female bodied. In fact, I've always referred to myself as female bodied. Never a female, never a woman.
Gotcha.
Female bodied.
I'm glad you said that. And it reminds me of a conversation that Laith Ashley, who we love so much, was talking about. The way that you explained being socialized was so interesting because I've never heard it in that way. The way I remember Leif talking about it was trans men are socialized as female. And so usually they're the ones that have to sit in the back, not say anything. They have to be more of the nurturer and all of the things or whatever. And when I think of that, I'm like, oh, I never really thought of that. But the way that you explained it was a whole different perspective. And as someone who is not transmasculine, I find it very interesting and I'm grateful to learn all of that. So thank you both for doing that. Now, I'm going to have to switch it because I'm going to be a little messy. Because this is the Transparency Podcast Show.
By the way, we're not sponsored by Red Bull yet, but if Red Bull likes to sponsor us, this is my favorite flavor. I like the pineapple version. So, yes, let's get into the tea.
Yeah,
hold on.
honey, we got to get a good
Oh, look, there's only 15 minutes, so you better get into the dirty stuff.
You already know.
Which one? Get the evil laugh.
Oh, that's Now,
Can't imagine.
Now, okay, now you already know what it's about to be. Now, you were known to hang around an interesting transmasculine person. He calls himself a transsexual. He was in adult entertainment. And one thing I would say, shout out to all of our transmasculine sex workers out there. We are pro-ho around here.
Yeah.
100%.
Hello?
100%.
Can we get something? We
Yes,
pro-ho around here.
Drum roll for the whole.
We're very pro-ho around here. Oh! You were known to hang around a certain transmasculine individual or whatnot. And on a personal level, I think, because of my personal experience with him, I think he's despicable. I think he's disgusting. I think that he's very transphobic. And I feel
Wait, girl, what's the question though?
I feel like.
What are you talking about?
Who
Oh,
could
should
this
we
be?
drop a name?
I mean, like I said, we're not sponsored by Red Bull yet, but we are being brought to you by Red Bull at the moment because we got wings to this, I think.
Yeah. I think that this individual who's transmasculine, and I'm sure he's going to watch this episode very clearly because I'm going to make a reaction video with the thumbnail of them on it. In my personal view, because of the lying and the sneaking that they've done or whatever, I don't think they're a great person. And it is what it is. But you used to hang with that person or be associated with that person. And I guess my question is, what shifted for you to not be friends with this type of person or attract people like this particular trans man, who's white, by the way, into your life?
What happened?
What's the tea? Go and spill it. We ready.
Okay.
Yes!
I got one.
Okay, so here we go. So first of all, myself and this person being the same age, having transitioned a long time ago, being from like similar, you
guys are like brothers, kind of. At least that's how I perceived it.
Yeah. Looking alike.
Allegedly.
Sounding alike too.
Personality is very different, though. We see that, though.
What?
Yeah.
Personality is very different.
Yeah.
We see that.
So much
Very
more
different.
beautiful.
That's why you read the book. You don't just look at the cover.
Right. So,
But that plays back into transmasculinity. Sorry, I'm just adding more of a delay because we have to have the dramatics. We have to because we know it's about to come and I'm giving you more time to think.
No,
so.
I know. It's pretty simple. So we got together with this concept. Being, like I said, I told you I own a cannabis delivery service and I believe in the properties of cannabis. So does this individual.
Support his business as well. All your cannabis should be purchased now by him.
Yes.
So that's how that works.
Yeah, and you get this into your last
exactly. And we'll get the links on it on the video for you later. So we'll have that.
So, anyways, so we had this idea to start because of this person's we hadn't spoken for a long time.
I do have my name on my teacup. I'm coming prepared.
Yeah, there was a lot of crazy gossip from like the 90s about this person and even this person and me and my partner at the time and just lots of fun stuff. So, anyways, we didn't talk. Then we hooked up somehow. Internet. It was asking this question about a dog, and I'm a dog lover. I am a dog daddy. You know.
I remember you would bring your dogs to the events and
everywhere.
It was cute as
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, people ask me if I adopt. I said, no, that's my biological dog.
Yeah, that's your baby.
That's my son.
Yeah.
I did not adopt him. So, anyways, we get together and we have this idea to do a cannabis company just focused. And this is a long time ago. This is like, I mean, for cannabis, this is 2017. Like, no, it's not even. It's still Prop 215. This is like the golden West, baby.
When the taxes weren't that bad. Remember when the taxes weren't that bad and they still put it? They put it in a baggie and it was like it didn't have to be all sealed and everything. They just stapled it and gave it to you.
Yeah, this is back when we were.
He's so detailed.
Listen, I've been in the cannabis industry a long time too. I just don't talk about it too much. Okay.
No. I've always been legal. In fact, I still am paying back corporate taxes from those days.
Yeah.
Anyways, yes, I am very legal. I'm a Virgo. I'm very by the books.
Yes.
So, anyways, we start this company.
We love Virgos.
With the whole idea for our community and all. Then COVID hits and all, and I'm expanding with my delivery services separate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is just my passion project, right? And so things are going along, and then I decide, like, okay, we could expand, and you could be a partner on my delivery service. I already have a partner on paper. Like I said, we have S Corp, LLC, all that bullshit.
Yeah. Trans man in business. Look at that.
Right. You got to do it right. Do it right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to be in so
Listen,
much
I'm just
hell.
impressed that, like,
So
again,
much
we
hell.
never thought trans men would be here. I even have a podcast. Like, we have, like, equipment. It's like, what? We have privilege. So sorry. I get excited when you tell me.
It's really important.
Yeah.
Anyways, he does not, my partner that I've been with, my delivery partner, does not think it's a good idea. So I go,
oh, really? Your partner didn't think it was a good idea
to include him and expand with him.
Ooh, let me see.
So anyways, I decided to anyways. And what this person, of which we speak of.
Allegedly.
Of who shall not be named.
Not Voldemort.
So he who shall not be named. So what
my God.
was
You are not being good.
maybe we didn't realize that it's really hard. Like, my business was open 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
It's retail, 11 hours a day.
No, you go hard.
It's a lot of fucking work.
He's a hustler.
This is for real. Yeah. This is taxes. This is reporting to the state of California monthly.
Yeah.
This is vendor purchasing, $5,000 to $10,000 a week. This is a business. This is on the phone with all of the seniors who are like, what? No, I don't know how to use a website. Do you want me to name off all 200 like different types of weeds we have? Yes. Wait, lady, it's just a lot of work.
Yeah.
This individual that we're speaking of did have the popularity and stuff, and that's how we sort of always had it, was that I was the guy behind the scene. I'm the Virgo, I'm the business guy. There's the face of
Got it.
It makes
product, right?
Yeah, business-wise, it makes sense.
It made sense. So what happened though was it was crashing and burning. It was not his money. It was all my money.
Wow.
Okay.
And
so wait, you paid me for that DJ gig then?
that was out of both of our money.
Okay.
I mean, when I expanded and put another $50,000 to expand the company.
Okay. Wow.
Which was all my money.
Wow.
He didn't have money.
Wow.
Daddy put in some money. His daddy put in some money.
Wow.
My daddy stopped speaking to me 15 years before he died.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you don't get it, bro. Like, this is me. This is little tranny guy working my ass off.
Coming from the mud like a lily pad.
Yeah, I don't.
Right now.
My parents just owned me. My parents stopped speaking.
Same.
To me
I came
when
from
was
Scientology,
18.
dude. So listen.
Yeah, you know?
Come on now.
My parents left me nothing.
All of my
Nothing.
everything came from these fingers, and somehow I got it. I don't
Everything
know how.
I had, building the business, every goddamn penny I had.
And that's why I respect you so
I
much.
did it myself.
Yeah.
No handouts, no rich girlfriends.
Nope.
No rich daddies.
Nope. Nothing.
None of that shit.
That's why I wanted you on the show, dude.
So I got upset that they weren't taking equal responsibility. In fact, no responsibility.
Damn.
Shocking. Where's the Oh, I was looking for the other one. Dun, dun, dun.
We're still learning the buttons, y'all. Don't judge us.
Yeah.
Where is it? Which one is it?
We always do this every episode.
Life's not fair.
Didn't you just
There we go.
No, wait,
That's
no.
not fair.
We're still learning the buttons. Wait, is this one? No, there's. Oh wait.
There
it
you go.
is.
Done.
So it's the middle one. We got to remember that. It's the middle one. We're learning. Yeah. Y'all, it's the middle one. It's the middle button.
We get to learn together.
It's a one-take show,
It's
y'all.
it's all a process.
That's why it's called Transparency Podcast, because we do not do editing at all. This is live.
all about the journey, not getting there.
Exactly.
We might never get there. The journey.
Sorry, I play with the buttons. Tell us how the story ends. Where did we go from there? Yes.
We had a big falling out over that.
Yeah.
And parted ways. And I did not realize that even if you, and again, Virgo, everything by the books. I set up bank accounts, more LLCs. I didn't realize since I'm the signer on everything, because an LLC, and the reason why you do that is you're not liable, and it does not come back on me personally.
No.
Yeah.
However, I am the signer on everything. Again, I am the business person behind the scenes. He's the
You're
face.
the CEO.
I still owe. Some of the credit cards are gone after this time. I had to pay everything back.
So make sure to purchase all your cannabis from this Transmasculine business owner, so we can get that. Yes. Just send him Venmo money. We'll find the link somewhere. We'll send it out.
Endeavor.
Yes.
Yeah. So it just sort of walked off and left me with all the debt.
Okay.
And so we don't talk.
Where I was about to say, where can we support you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have. Oh, here. Best Buds Delivery.
Yes.
Yes.
Best Buds Delivery.
Yes.
Can you actually spell it for us, like the .com exactly,
Yes.
so we can get it?
Okay.
Is it BES?
Yeah. So it's BEST and then Buds, BUDZ, Buds, but the where you can order right off the menu and everything.
Ooh.
And if you send in your name and stuff, I'll even send you a cute little
Mention the podcast as well.
Yeah, the podcast, and then I'll put a little code on it, and that's bbdelivery.net.
Okay.
It can't have Best Buds, which it was because Buds, apparently, the CDC and the powers that be that do like
They won't let you have it. Yeah.
Spectrum.
Really?
Yeah.
They
Wow.
think that it's a cannabis company. And so they won't let me advertise.
Wow.
So I have to do all this, wraparound. It's not.
Look at that.
There we go. We got
it on screen for you right there.
Hey,
So that's all of your stuff.
me.
Yeah.
Look at all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's just my specials.
Yeah.
Oh, look at ooh.
Yeah.
Shane, we need to rack up on now.
Listen, I invited the plug. Now the community is aware of the plug. The plug has some good stuff. Here's the menu. So we're going to get sativa. I'm going to need an eighth of the blueberry. And also the Kush there that looks really good. And I need 2 vape pens. And then Blossom, you needed edibles, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to need that whole menu. And also, folks, go ahead and actually head over to that website. Take a look at all of his work because, again, something that I want to support because I have this alleged attention and platform. I want folks to actually see and become the plug for community. And you're actually buying from a transmasculine individual.
Right.
Like, what? And it's legal. It's through a business license. It's everything.
I
is
know.
good.
A licensed trans.
Right?
man.
Like, what the... Like, it's crazy because, again, like...
No, it's difficult.
I'm in this weird elder millennial situation where, like, I have this weird bridge of my upbringing as a trans man where I can really relate heavily to how you were kind of navigating the world because when I grew up, it was still very much exactly what you said. Like, it's like, there wasn't even really the discussion of non-binary. There wasn't a discussion of anything. It was just like, if you're going to transition, you go hardcore man, and that's your only opportunity. And then you do it lone wolf style because there's no resources for it, and you just figure it out. And then maybe you live to 35, 40 if you're lucky. And the thing that I love about your story, first of all, is that you are an icon, that you're here, that you're past the age of 40. And that inspires me. It inspires.
Only a 1 year past.
Listen, I know. But at the same time, like, looking at everything. Not the producer jumping in.
I know, right?
We've been waiting.
I tried so hard to be convincing.
I really appreciate, like, what you've done for community. And I really want folks to know more about you and look you up and find out more about you. And just, you know, it's unfortunate sometimes those business deals didn't fall out the way that they maybe were planned to. But what I do remember is when I would see you in community, the times that I saw you personally coming in and working with me and other community members and really trying to bring this, like, bridge that you were trying to cross. And I really hope that this episode also brings some more visibility to your business so that we can get you some of that debt taken care of, right?
I will say this.
And wait, and put up my website, Leon Mostovoy.
Yes.
.net.
Yes, and we'll get that up for you.
So that you can, there you go. So that you can buy my artwork there.
Yeah.
I have a new show coming up.
And it's sexy stuff too. I mean, it's really good. It's high quality. It's
yeah, there's
there's trans men out there, y'all. Like, you just gotta actually dig deep, and we're gonna continue to bring more and more and more trans men here, and other activists and other community leaders and influencers. Yeah. More tea and drama. And Blossom, I feel like you have one more question for Leon before we go.
Yeah, no, it's just more of a comment because you know, the person that we were talking about or whatever, I've had such a very vile experience with him, but meeting you, sitting here with you, and just seeing how pure your heart is and your spirit is, I just, you are such a fresh air.
Thank you. Appreciate
it. Support you, love you, and you know, this is what liberation looks like. Being able to sit here and have this conversation. And although I am not a transmasculine person, thank you so much for having me here to learn and listen and just grow. And this is the type of environment I want every trans woman, non-binary person, trans man, everybody in our trans community to see us sitting here, listening to each other, learning from each other. And there's no overstepping or anything like that, because we need that unity now more than ever. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that.
That's fantastic. And just one last thing then is that I want to say that it is so special because, again, with the separation, it seems like then to separate, and trans men and trans women wanting to separate. I'm like, why?
That's why I wanted Blossom on the show.
I mean,
and
it's
I want her
so
part of these
important to have a trans woman support trans men. It doesn't happen very
and it's
often.
Rare, and that's why I really appreciate you, Blossom.
I know we are not loved by you ladies.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah, no, but honestly, Blossom is setting the example, and I think I've actually seen kind of a shift in community, and I just thank you because I have seen, you know, even influencers and stuff actually start to talk about trans men more, and you're part of the conversation that has actually changed that. So again, in a weird sense, as we talked in that Sabelle episode, that like, it's weird to say as a Black woman you have privilege in that space because in most spaces you don't. But I just thank you for sharing your voice and also supporting us trans guys because, you know, we want to do some cool stuff in the world too. And I love seeing, you know, older trans men. That was one thing that I interviewed Ezra. He's like, you don't see older trans men. And I really wanted to bring you on here again, just so folks know that you exist, you've done the work, and you have a great just personality, and I appreciate how you represent and you show up as a trans man, especially as a white trans man. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you both so much. I think this is awesome. Love the work you're doing. Keep it up. Keep going.
Yes.
All right.
Right. And that's going to wrap it up for us, folks. I just want to say thank you so much for watching today. I hope you learned a bunch. Please look up Leon. Please get some cannabis from this man so we can get all that debt taken care of for you. And if you're looking for any links or anything, that'll be down. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, Blossom, because we want to get that 1,000 subscribers. We are almost at that mark. And another thing, I really want to shout out to our producer, Solomon, at the Podcast Palace here. Excuse me, I said Podcast Palace, not the Podcast Palace. He's been a great support for us here.
And he's podcast.
Place.
It's Podcast Place. See, and I got it wrong. I got it wrong. Listen, I didn't even get my name right. Okay, Solomon. So we're still learning.
One-take show.
Yeah.
It's really a one-take show.
Yeah.
The day when you did introduce yourself at the wrong day.
Exactly. I did. But I am Shane Ivan Nash. This is Blossom C. Brown. And this was the Transparency Podcast. Stay tuned for more.
We did not do our...
Yeah.
Oh! And then,